Hello guys, I'm going to be showing you how to contribute to plotsense AI or any other Python package as a contributor. So the first thing you have to do is to clone your repo. I'll be using terminal for this. Git clone the repo, and then the next thing you have to do is to open the repo or the directory in a code editor. For this purpose, I'll be using VS Code. Okay. For this particular project, it's following the gitflow type of branching method where we create development branch and feature branches as well, and also the main branch is protected. So the first thing you do while you are on the new repo in VS Code is to git pull. So I know we just git clone from GitHub, so we should have the latest changes, but make sure this is a practice for you before you do any changes or make any updates to the code. Always git pull to make sure you have the latest changes. So you can see my repo is up to date with the main branch. And also note that we are not going to be working on the main branch. The main branch is off limits. You're going to be working on another branch, which is a feature branch. But the first thing you have to do is to make sure you are on the development branch. So for this, I would do git checkout develop. And also, rather than pulling from main, I would advise you most likely pull from development branch since you'll be working from this branch. So for this, I'll do git pull origin develop. So now if you remember, I said the main branch is off limits. Nobody works on the main branch, particularly for this project, because this is how it's been designed. It is off limits. Nobody works on the main branch. If you are doing anything, make sure you always check out to development branch, then git pull to pull the latest changes. And also I've said we're going to be following the git flow architecture where we have feature branches and development branch and all that. So if you are working on a feature for plotsense, you need to create a feature branch, and you're going to be creating that feature branch off the development branch, not from the main branch. So make sure first thing you git checkout into the development branch. If you can see here, this changes to develop, so it shows that you're in the development branch. Then once you git checkout into the development branch, before you start creating anything, before you write any code at all, the next thing you have to do is you already have the code in mind or the feature in mind that you want to build, so create a branch for that particular feature. You have to create a branch for that particular feature. So the next thing I'm going to do is to git checkout b feature. Make sure it starts with a feature, then the name of your feature. So let's say for this case, I just want to do something like explanation underscore AI. This is the name of the feature I'm going to be building in this branch or in this period of time. For this particular feature, this is what I'm going to be doing, explanation AI. So I enter, you can see it has switched from development branch to explanation AI branch. So the next thing I can do now, I can start building anything I want to. Let's say for explanations here, I create a file called new file explanation or explain.py. I'm just going to import random just for the sake of it. So now you can see GitHub has shown that there's been a change, and yes, we can go ahead to commit something. So let's assume we've built so many features, we've written so many code, and we would like to push this code to GitHub. So one thing I would say is, remember, we are not pushing to main branch, and also we are not pushing to development branch. we are pushing to our feature branch. We're going to be pushing to the feature branch, not the main branch and not development branch. So you can see we have feature here. The next thing we'll do is to add and git commit. Make sure to include a descriptive message, especially if you're working with other people so they can understand the changes you've made or the features you've created. So now that I've committed, the next thing I'll have to do is to push to my origin feature branch. Just so when I go to GitHub, for now, if I switch to GitHub and I reload this page, you can see that we don't have that feature explain.ai or explanation underscore AI. We don't have that as the branch yet. That's because we haven't pushed to the origin yet. So I'm going to git push origin, git push origin feature explanation underscore AI. Yes, so this has pushed now to the feature branch. So it doesn't affect anything we do in the development branch, and it doesn't affect anything that we do in the main branch. Those two branches are protected. We cannot push directly to those branches. So make sure the end goal is to make sure that everything we've created in our feature branch gets merged or gets reflected in the development branch. And I'll show you how to do that later on. So if you go back to GitHub, now you can see GitHub is smart enough to let me know that yes, we have a new branch and we have new codes and all that. So it tells you compare and pull request. So for everything you've written in your feature branch to be reflected in the development branch, you need to create a pull request. So here you can easily do it by just clicking compare and pull, or for some reasons it might not show, you can come to pull request as well. Before you do that, make sure you are on your explain branch. I mean, you can just come here and check the new things you included. If you remember, I included the explanation explain.py script. So I'll go back to plotsense AI and from here I'll just create a new PR, or I can just compare and pull from here as well. And make sure not to merge or create a PR against main branch. The main branch is off limits. Just think of the main branch as that's very, very high space. You're not touching it. The only direct connection you have from your feature branch is the development branch, because you want everything from your feature branch to be reflected in the development branch. So from here, change it to development branch. Make sure your feature branch is on the right hand side and the development branch is on the left. And you can add a title, you can even add more description here. I mean, the more description you add, the better, so anybody that's going to review this pull request can understand what you've done and how to test it as well. And the next thing you do is to create a pull request. So once you've created a pull request, you're not going to be able to merge it by yourself. There are a couple of processes or a couple of protection that's been done to the development branch. It doesn't just merge by itself. There needs to be reviewers. Certain people have to review the changes you've made, and if there's like a CI/CD running in the background as well to do some linting and test and all that, it's going to run before it merges, just so you don't have any conflict between the changes you've made and the code that is in development branch. So that's how you make contributions. And once you are done doing this, once you've created your pull request, you wait for it to be merged. If whoever is merging it, if they find that there's no error on the code you've made, it runs perfectly well, everything is working as normal, they would review it and they will merge it. And once they merge it, all the changes you've made or all the new changes you've made to feature explain will be reflected in the development branch. So if I go to code here and I change this to development or develop here, whatever changes you've made, as long as it's been merged, they've reviewed the PR and they come to the conclusion that there's no conflict, everything works as normal, and they merge it, you'd see the explain.py in here. And for now, they haven't merged it, nobody has reviewed it, so that's why you can't find it here. But once they merge it, please always try to delete your feature branch, just so we don't have so much feature branches here. So once they merge your changes, delete the feature branch. And before you make another change, because multiple people might be working on this at the same time simultaneously, and working on different features, before you make any other change to your code, the first thing you have to do is to git pull origin develop. Okay, thank you very much. I hope this was quite informative and you can find this very useful. Have a lovely day whenever you watch this.